I'm Jarrell. I'm glad to see you here again. So I'm just going to share this little Kmise Banjo Ukulele. I wanted to answer a question that I had seen online in forums and comment sections and videos. Can you put metal strings on a banjo, on an ukulele banjo or a banjolele? And I had seen many people answer this saying no, you can't because one, the instrument won't support metal strings. It's not designed for metal strings. It was designed for Nylgut strings. And two, it won't sound good. It'll sound tinny. It'll sound. People said it would just sound awful. It would sound too punchy and rattly. So I just shared a quick demonstration here. This is actually tuned an octave up from a standard 5-string banjo. There's only 4 strings on here, of course. It doesn't have the 5th string there. But with these strings, this is to high tension. For banjo instruments, in general, when you are playing the 5-string banjo, the string tension generally should be a bit low. So this is too high. It's because this tuning is really meant to be a little bit shorter scale length. So I could just tune this down a bit and play a different key, or I can go and get extra light banjo strings and put them on here, and that would play more appropriately. So this instrument was just a bit of an experiment to see if what people in those comment sections and those forums were right. It's up to you. Is this a bad sound? Is this something you like or not? I'm not going to tell you whether or not this is a good sound for a banjo or not. Heck, I'm not your mother, so I can't tell you things like that. So now, in terms of whether or not these instruments are strong enough, they're built tough enough to withstand that, for Kmise brand instruments, generally all the ones that I've seen have truss rods in them. They're built with sapele. They're very good quality materials. Kmise makes excellent instruments for projects. So if you're doing your custom instruments, Kmise is excellent for that. I've built where I've converted Kmise banjos, the same kind, to have 8 strings. I had them tuned with octave mandolin strings and then mandola strings and mandolin strings. No damage to the neck, no damage to the instrument. These instruments can handle it just fine. Now, if you were using a banjo ukulele that was older, something from the 40s or 50s, around that era, I absolutely would not put metal strings on those instruments. Those instruments are not necessarily built very tough. This is a modern instrument, and these are built to be tough. These are excellent instruments. So if you have an older, more traditional banjo ukulele, I would not risk putting metal strings on them. In general, many of those instruments may not even have a truss rod. This has your metal coordinator rod that runs through the whole thing. Older instruments may just have wood that goes through it like that. But in general, if you have a newer banjo ukulele, especially from Kmise, which makes excellent instruments, try putting some metal strings on there and see. So I personally would either get extra light strings and try again. These are just standard, I think these are standard lights, banjo strings. Anyway, that's the sound. If you're interested in hearing what they sound like with metal picks, I don't know, let me know in the comment section. If anyone's interested in that, then I'll go ahead and grab them. Me personally, I prefer playing with just fingers. I prefer my banjo to have a balanced, warm sound, and for me personally, I don't really like the sound of the metal picks, as they can be a bit too harsh and punchy for my playing style. I prefer old-timey, folksy music that's a little bit more expressive, and I don't play very fast. So I'm very happy to just play using my fingers. I like the feel of the contact with the strings, and it allows me to translate my finger picking across 2 other instruments as well. So there's a couple of reasons why I don't like using finger picks, but if the music calls for it, I'll use metal finger picks. On my auto harp, I use 2 plastic and 1 metal. So anyway, that is the answer to the question, can you put metal strings on an ukulele banjo? Yes, you can. Take care of yourselves. I'm so glad that you're here today. Come home again soon. I'll leave the porch light on.